my brother, and the next president of the United States of America, Messam.
Good afternoon, America. You know, first, to my wife.
All right, now.
My partner in life, my partner in business. I love you. I remember when we met in Calcutta, and you've been ride or die ever since. I love you and thanks you for being the rock for me. To my twin daughters, Kayla and Kyla, keep shining. So proud of you as you enter into your next phase of life in college. And to my namesake, Wayne, I love you. Keep shining, keep being who you are. You are inspiring your peers, and I can't wait to see what is next for you as you continue your process and soon to finish college. I also would like to thank my fraternity brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the leader and president of this esteemed university, Florida Memorial University, as well as my Archon at Sigma Pi Phi, Boulay brother, Dr. Japhas Hardrick. So congratulations to you and all the great things that you're doing here at Florida Memorial University. And to all distinguished guests, thanks so much for coming out. My peer elected officials here in South Florida, thank you for always being strong supporters over the years that we have faced so many challenges together and have triumphed them. So thanks so much for coming out. And last but definitely not least, the city of Miramar. Yes. Thank you for being the home to my family. Thank you for your support. Thank you for electing me and re-electing me every time I stood out, because I tried to be your champion. And we are a shining light across this country. The example that many cities are trying to be, as we all just want to achieve the American dream. So Miramar, thank you for always being there and having my back as we work together to ensure that our residents can have a wonderful place to lead and to raise our families and for businesses to thrive. You know, as many of you know and you saw the video, some of my background and where I come from. I come from a very, very small city, the Mum, South Bay, Florida. You know, and that's where my parents settled. You know, my father came to this country to take care of his wife and my older brother and two older sisters from Manchester, Jamaica, coming back and forth, cutting sugarcane in those hot fields, laboring, doing work that locals would not do. That was some hard work. 75 cents a row at times. All right? Back-breaking work, sacrifice, so that he could provide for his family. And later, I was born in Pahokee, Florida, the only hospital in the Glades where mothers could go and give birth to their children. And we grew up in South Bay. 7th Avenue, but we called it 7th Street. Right? That's where we grew up. My father wanted, and my mother wanted the American dream for us to be able to grow up in a great country, to be whoever we chose to be. I thank them for that. I love them for that. Because they're not the only example, because there were other parents and other fathers and other mothers that did the same thing across this country, chasing the American dream. You know, the American dream is not a fictitious thing to me. I say that all the time because it is real. It's so real for me. Because ponder this, for me to go to Florida State University, to play for legendary coach Bobby Bowden at Florida State University, win a national championship my freshman year. So I knew I made the right choice. I knew I made the right choice. I had the opportunity to play with some great players, guys like NFL Hall of Famer Derrick Brooks, one of my classmates, Warwick Dunn, my roommate and dear friend, Henry Crockett, and the Crockett brothers. The list goes on and on. Even had a shot to wear that orange and black in Cincinnati with the Bengals. You know? It didn't quite work out for me, so my NFL career was cut short. A few years later, my wife and I decided to start construction business, where we were creating jobs. And then the great city of Miramar saw it fit to elect me to be one of their public servants. So when I say I'm living the American dream, I am living the American dream.
That's right.
I do have to tell you quickly, though, about that first election. I admit I was a novice. Was not a politician. Decided I was going to run for office on the week of qualifying. No ground game, nothing. Wow. Jumped in the race and won by a little over 30 votes in that election. So you can't tell me that one vote doesn't count. After the first term, I took on a formidable opponent, my predecessor, 16-year incumbent, and won the race. So I know every vote counts. And a few weeks ago, the city of Miramar re-elected me with nearly 90% of the vote. So I'm humble, and I'm thankful, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. Now, I know everyone in the nation, those who are watching on TV right now, and the national pundits, status quo in Washington, are asking, why would a mayor run for president? And is he qualified? Why would he run, and is he qualified?
All right now.
The real question should be, what does Washington experience have to do with meeting the needs of the American people? And I will tell you, don't be surprised that the year 2020 just may be the year of the mayor. Because mayors are on the front lines of cleaning up Washington's mess. Let's talk about some of the records made. As mayor, the city of Miramar, we beat out China to bring jobs to our city. As mayor, helped the city recover through Hurricane Irma. As mayor, led the fight, still fighting the fight, trying to stop oil drilling right outside of our city right now, threatening the Everglades and Albania. As mayor, stood with my colleagues, and we passed the living wage in the city of Miramar. As mayor, one of the lead mayors to sue the state of Florida so that mayors and locally elected officials can have a say in gun control and gun safety in our community. In Florida, if I put on the agenda that I want to discuss if it even makes sense, or will it protect our city to ban assault-style weapons in our parks or in our community centers. I can be removed from office by the governor. I can be personally fined $5,000, and our city can and as mayor, declared Miramar a safe city for our immigrants, so that there wouldn't be any unwarranted immigration enforcement in our city. Because we believe in the decency of humanity in the city of Miramar. And we should be the same thing in our nation. So that is why I stand by today. The son of an immigrant, sugarcane cutter, and a cook. A concerned citizen, sick and tired of being sick and tired. The mayor of a city with one of the nation's fastest growing economies, too morally disturbed by the state of our nation to wait my turn. Too disgusted by the reckless and irresponsible behavior in the White House to turn a blind eye. Too impatient with the peace and the pace of change to sit idle while crises we're dealing with today and the ones that we're seeing on the horizons and doing nothing about it. Today, I want you to hear first. Now listen up. Today, I want you to hear first that I am running to be the president of these United States. I'm running because, as Dr. King said, this is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or taking the tranquilizing gun of gradualism. I'm running for president so that my twin daughters and my son can grow up in a world where we face our challenges as Americans and spend our energy and time trying to solve them. No longer can we take a blind eye to this student loan debt crisis. No longer can we accept anything but a short timeline to take action on climate change. No longer can we blindly accept that our country has a mass shooting nearly every single day. No longer can we fail to plan for the changing economy and the impacts of artificial intelligence. We are one nation. The American people are not ammunition to win a political battle. They are our only hope. Because of them, that's why change cannot wait. Because our politics has become too small, our public morale too decayed, It is time America leads the world again. And the only way we can do this is to go big. We must be bold, and our foreign policy must reflect our values if we are to truly lead. We are capable of transformational change when we as a nation decide to work together as a human family. When we place the pursuit of happiness for every American as a priority, not just the ones that we prefer. Americans may be the blessed, the most blessed, but we have always risked that blessing. We've always put it at risk for the greater good. Regardless of whether you worship God in South Carolina or remain in awe of the universe in Southern California, we are all sharing the same heartbeat, the same need for clean air, the same need for clean water, the same desire to raise our children to be better than we were. We are inextricably linked. We are inextricably linked and unable to detach from our greater humanity. Because they tell you that this is not possible, and all pie in the sky, because they'll say that. They'll say it's not possible. Let me tell you about the construction business my wife and I started. We started a construction business from scratch. We took our savings, and we actually started that business in the Great Recession, one of the worst times to start a construction business. But you know what? We made it.
Yes.
We made it.
Yes.
We struggled, but we made it.
Yes.
We helped build green, climate-conscious projects, including the greenest school in the southeastern United States, achieving LEED Platinum certification. We've helped to put people to work. I have overseen nearly $500 million in contracts, including at work at Fort Lauderdale International Airport. People in Washington talk endlessly about the need to rebuild our infrastructure and plan for a sustainable future, but we have little to show for it. There is nothing being planned to build our infrastructure. Well, I've done it, and I'm ready to lead a nationwide rebuild. Stand with me, and together we will rebuild this great nation we love from the ground up. My wife and I, we've been blessed to have the opportunity to create a successful business. We are eternally grateful for the opportunities available to us in America. And we want to make sure that those same opportunities remain for every American. But as an American, it is my duty to keep it real, people. And speak truth to power. Let's first start. We're going to first start by addressing the elephant in the room that our country has not addressed. For many of you beginning your career, you carry a burden like no other. You are burdened to the ground in face student loan debt. In fact, it's a crisis. For many of you beginning your career, you carry a burden that is required because businesses require you to have a 4-year degree, right? They require you to have a 4-year degree. And if you and your family don't have the money to get you through, you have to take loans. So many of us are burdened with that student loan debt crisis. We're asking those in college today, and even those who are heading into college, and those parents and grandparents who have to pay for their children to go to college, to get a good education. We're forcing all of them to pay off massive student debt as the price for the American dream. Think about that. You have to take these loans to get a college degree, and in turn have to take and get into debt just to chase the American dream. You know, Everyone's not 6'4", 200 pounds, can run like a gazelle, catch a football, and earn a football scholarship to pay their college, right? But with all kidding aside, if you didn't know, I was talking about myself. But in all seriousness, you shouldn't have to have a football scholarship or athletic scholarship to be able to go to college and get an education. Something's not wrong with that. Ponder this. June 1st of 1875, an article in the New York Times ran under this headline: "The Expense of College Education." You see, apparently, the writer back then had interviewed some parents who were paying for their kids' college. And they were complaining. They were saying, wait, I'm paying more in 1 year for my child's education than I had to pay for all 4 years I went to college. In 1 year. Folks, it's 2019, and we're still reading the same headlines. Trust me, I know. I have 3 in college. The same headlines. We are still hitting our heads on the same issue and building towards avoidable crises that will negatively impact our economy. It is morally wrong for this country to require our citizens to take on tens of thousands of dollars of debt to achieve the American dream. Here are the facts. Our education system is a debt trap for young Americans that will keep them struggling through their golden years. 44 million Americans owe more than $1.5 trillion in private and public debt, an amount that doubled in just 10 years. The average loan for a 4-year degree is nearly $30,000. Over 2.7 million Americans carry over $100,000 in student loan debt. This is the second largest pool of consumer debt, second only to housing. This isn't just a young person's issue, though. It's devastating even the young at heart, and I see many of you out in the audience. Student loan borrowers over the age of 50. So if you're over the age of 50, they saw their debt increase by over $28 billion. Not over 10 years, over just 1 year. It's a crisis. Now let's see how we got here. Let's have that conversation. The old truth remains that a quality education remains the best path to the middle class and beyond. So we can't avoid it. You have to get a great education because it's the path towards the American dream. The cost of a college degree has skyrocketed out of control. Here's some more facts. Mostly working and middle-class Americans are in need of student loans due to the lack of their families' inability to support their continuing education. Many entry-level jobs historically require a college degree, barring the entrance into the job market. Many students who take out student loans often have to get a second job and struggle to make ends meet well into their golden years. But we're going to talk about my plan to deal with it not being right. I believe the Americans deserve a second chance at the American dream. Before we can make college affordable for the next generation, we must give relief to 1 in 4 Americans now struggling with student loan debt. As president, I will push for national student loan debt forgiveness. For national student loan debt forgiveness paid for by repealing Trump's tax cut to the wealthiest. It is time for the federal government to cancel all federal and private debt. It is time cancel all federal and private student loans. The government would purchase student loans held by private sector or assume responsibility for making the payments on these loans. The goal is to zero out. The goal is to zero out student loan debt, regardless of the source. For student borrowers, each approach would provide immediate financial relief, freeing up on average $400 a month to spend, save, or invest, and allow borrowers to begin to build wealth at the same pace as their peers who never had to take out a student loan. Now I know $1.5 trillion sounds like a daunting amount, but as the research shows, the benefits are significant and would benefit all Americans far more than Trump's tax cuts. It is clear, you always talk about skin tax cuts, spur the economy, but it's clear the Trump tax cuts have fallen well short. With slowing growth, rising deficits. You know, they always talk about deficits, right? In his administration, the deficit's rising. And most of the benefits are going to corporations. Repealing this malignant tax cut and using the money to get rid of student debt, it will help all Americans. My plan would create up to 1.5 million jobs over the first 3 years of my term. My plan would reduce unemployment rate in a meaningful way. My plan would add up to $1 trillion to the gross domestic product over 10 years. Americans, it is time we boost our economy and give America a second chance at the American dream. To be clear, my plan would not only directly boost the economy, it would also help Americans rise across the board. It will increase the number of new small businesses formed every year. It will raise the number of degrees achieved. It will bring more first-time home buyers into the housing market. With your help, we can put our country on strong footing and immediately give Americans a second chance at the American dream. Real change cannot wait any longer. The student loan debt crisis is not the only crisis we see on the horizon. No issue hits closer to home in South Florida than gun violence. 30 minutes away from here, where I stand, we have had 2 mass shootings, Parkland and the Fort Lauderdale International Airport, within the last 2 years. I have even had my own run-in with this new American crisis. Back in 2017, Christmas Eve, yeah, I'm that guy that's closing down the mall, getting the last shopping gifts for my family and friends. Was in the Aventura Mall. I went in the store to get an item. Next thing you know, we hear pandemonium out in the halls in the mall. And next thing you know, we see police officers with guns drawn, people scurrying around the mall because there was a thought that someone was shooting in the mall. This is just in 2017. That's the type of climate we're living in. And this is happening all because of a result that in Washington has not done anything to address this gun violence issue. Ponder this. This is how bad it is. 58 precious lives taken in Las Vegas. 49 lives destroyed at Pulse in Orlando. 9 brave souls murdered just trying to pray to their God in Charleston. The tragedy of University of Iowa's Van Halen home, and the countless number of victims that are slain every day in the streets of America. And many only to be killed in another. Here at home, here at home, and this is touching. Due to survivors' remorse, we had two Parkland students commit suicide. And just recently as last week, a father who still was dealing with the loss of a child in Sandy Hook. How bad could this possibly get? When you have 96 people die from gun violence every day in America, and today, as I stand before you, there is no gun reform bill in Washington on the president's desk. Washington is broken. When you can't take your family to a movie or drop your child off to school without wondering whether or not that will be the last time you see them, Washington is broken. I'm running for president to change that. Here's my plan. When I'm president, mass shooting weaponry from the hands of those suffering from mental illness. Those who have a history of domestic abuse, and anyone on the terror watch list. It's time to stop playing games. It's time to stop playing games with American lives. We cannot wait to have safe communities and schools. It will be my goal as president to cut gun deaths down by 50% by my first term, with the goal to eliminate completely during my administration. No half measures, no tiptoeing in the water. If anyone, Republican or Democrat, has a plan that will cut gun deaths in half and bring this threat completely to an end, I urge them to bring it to me, and I will support it. We've been here before. We've been here before. In 1985, CEOs of major car manufacturers, they opposed seatbelt laws. That's an everyday thing we do now, right? But in 1985, the car manufacturers opposed seatbelt laws. Why should we expect anything different from gun manufacturers? It's time we demand action from our government to keep us safe from gun violence and replace the politicians if they won't get to work to make it happen. One more child lost to gun violence is one too many. Change cannot wait to protect our people. Of course, we have another big challenge that's sitting on the horizon. Today in 21st century America, the leaders of the political party in power do not believe in science. Now, how bad could this possibly be? When you have hurricanes, and we know about them here in Florida, not only are they more frequent, but they're more intense. Right here in Miami Beach, in South Florida, the sun can be shining and the streets are flooded, right? But we have an administration that doesn't believe in science because Washington is broken. By the end of the American century, as much as 1 million Floridians could lose their properties to rising sea levels, costing this country over $120 billion per year in property damage. The largest wildfires we've ever seen to engulf California, snatching mothers and fathers and children and grandparents out of their homes. Yet all we hear out of Washington are attacks about, or attacks on, the proponents of the Green New Deal, and silence from politicians who won't even take action. Washington is broken. I'm running for president of the United States to take direct climate change action. I built a construction business overseeing $1.5 billion in projects, and I've helped build the greenest school in this state, so I know how to create jobs. Taking action on climate change is priority. Here's my plan. When I'm president, my level with the American people. We can build this economy. We can solve the threat of climate change. Climate change is not a hoax. It is the premier danger to our very existence and the future of our children and grandchildren. It is time we live up to being the stewards of our environment. We cannot wait to lead the world. Change cannot wait. Now, some of you all may have seen me on Thursday debating with our friends on Fox. I was on the Neil Cavuto show on Thursday. And something interesting happened. The host on that show repeatedly asked me to pat Trump on the back about this economy. Come on, Mr. Mayor. So you're saying that the growth in this economy, that President Trump shouldn't get credit for that? I gave my response. Mr. Mayor, are you saying to provide a living wage for their workers? Washington is broken. Now, there's a company that's founded in Miramar by the name of JL Audio. They manufacture speakers. You know, they have some operations out of China. They're about to expand their marine division. And as they were contemplating what they were going to do and where they were going to invest, the city of Miramar had an opportunity to compete for that. You know, we've been hearing all the news reports and all the stories about how manufacturing is leaving American cities and the jobs are going on with it. But you know, the city of Miramar, we rolled up our sleeves and we brought that marine division to the city of Miramar. As mayor. And as the city administration, we worked together with Republicans and Democrats because we had to work with the state, we had to work with the county to make this deal work. And we fought to get those jobs back. And since they've been in Miramar, they've doubled the number of employees because their production is picking up. In just 2 short years, they've doubled their operations. So who says that American cities cannot attract these types of jobs and manufacturing and high-paying jobs for our American people? And if you give me the opportunity, if you just give me the chance to serve as your president, we will challenge We will meet this challenge. The challenge is larger than just to fight to keep American jobs. Recently, the Chinese government, they just released a manifesto. To their credit, they released a manifesto. And it quotes, I quote the manifesto. It reads like this: the world needs China, as all humans are living in a community with a shared future that creates broad strategic room for our efforts to uphold peace and development and gain an advantage. Meanwhile, we don't even know if our government's going to be open or shut. Right? Right? Where is our leadership? Where is our leadership? I'm running for president because the time to live up to our potential is now, not tomorrow. The future is happening every day, and we are ill prepared. Others are leading us. We are ill prepared. It should be illegal has done next to nothing to prepare us for the future. All the while, reports surfaced that scientists in China created the first gene-edited babies, a process that challenges the moral and ethical leadership of the world. Instead of us preparing for the future, they decided to give millions in tax breaks to big corporations, who then turned right around and cut jobs and laid off workers. I'll put it in everyday terms. They took the tax cut, gave some Americans $1,000 bonus check, and laid them off. Remember those checks that everybody was throwing out bonus checks and checks after the tax cuts? It turned right around and laid the people off. It is time we have a president who will invest in training the entrepreneurs of today. It is time that we start investing in these workers and making them into entrepreneurs to build this economy. The future holds on an economy where American is able to take his or her talent directly to the market. We have seen the rise of ride sharing, home sharing, cryptocurrency, digital collectibles, yet we are still training a workforce for jobs that will be replaced by artificial intelligence. When I'm president, we will establish an economic plan to soften the blow of the coming of this technology advancement on working middle class Americans. And we will encourage young people to start their own businesses as a pathway to success and alternative to college. We should not just stand by while manufacturing jobs leave this country, leaving Americans holding empty bags. I have helped pass the living wage for our workers, fought to attract high-paying jobs for Floridians, and created jobs myself. Democrats don't need to be lectured on the economy. When Democratic presidents oversee stronger job growth, stronger economic growth than Republican presidents. They always talk about Republicans control business, control the economy, but it's been Democratic presidents that oversee progress in our economy. Here is my plan. When I'm president, any American who wants a job will be able to get one. And it will be a federal priority to put Americans to work in high-paying jobs with flexible benefits so they can spend more time with their family and their friends. Success in the future means encouraging smart work. Let's bring back the creative American spirit. Now, we have discussed some of our domestic challenges, but my most important role as president would be to protect our standing in the world and to keep Americans safe. I'm running for president because our role as an honest broker on the world stage has been damaged. President Trump befriends our enemies and makes enemies of our friends. And that basic principle, the Trump administration is failing to pass the smell test. The lack of long-term peace and stability in the Middle East, so central to our nation's security, threatens the safety and security of our men and women around the world, our allies and partners in fighting terror, and our strategic economic interests. A major piece of this instability is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Every day this conflict persists is a more dangerous day for American national security. Our current failure to play a meaningful role in ending this conflict, there is dangerously threatening our moral authority and standing in the world. You may have heard I just recently returned from an independent fact-finding mission to Jerusalem, Ramallah, Hebron, and Tel Aviv. I met with the top leaders from both sides of the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. I met with the Israeli Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, a mayor of one of the largest settlements, and the Executive Director of the B'Tselem, a leading human rights organization. And I also met with the top negotiator of the Palestinian side, who negotiated the Oslo Accords, and the first woman elected to the Palestinian National Council. After hearing from those stakeholders who would be a part of achieving a two-party or two-state solution, I came away convinced that America's standing is suffering under our president. The negative impact of this situation cannot be overstated. We are witnessing the decline of America's ability to lead in the Middle East. When I'm president, we will reverse this decline and restore true American leadership, one that's rooted in both our values and our national security interests. For the last 2 years, the Trump administration's Israeli-Palestinian policy has been led by ideological actors who have taken actions detrimental to American interests in resolving this conflict. Based on conversations I had with a wide range and diverse group of Israeli and Palestinians on the breakdown of these talks, it became quite clear that Trump administration is failing both sides. They're failing both sides. This is not a new conflict, but the moment now is acute, and the Trump administration is making the situation much worse. Instead of rallying our allies to take shared responsibility in resolving the conflict, President Trump's team has pushed them away by inserting their own hard right radicalism into a conflict fraught with the potential of a religious war. The counterproductive approach not only harms the Israelis and Palestinians who both want peace, but it also serves to strengthen the murderous extremists like ISIS who recruit off our role in this crisis and directly threaten American interests around the world. Over and over again, Israeli and Palestinian leaders made it clear to me that their desire to negotiate directly for peace. And it's not just high-profile figures like the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset or the top negotiator of the PLO. It's also that everyday Israeli and Palestinians, the people that I met in Ramallah, Jerusalem, and Tel Aviv, who quietly shared their hopes for a two-state resolution and fears of what would happen if the region were to disintegrate into an all-out religious war. There was this one Israeli cab driver, so overcome with emotion, he had to pull over, swearing his love for his Palestinian neighbors, and describe how their families cared for each other. There was even a Palestinian shopkeeper who, despite living under harsh conditions in the occupied territories, displayed both compassion and understanding towards the Israelis. Regular people are suffering and deserving American leadership, not misguided ideology and partisan talking points. The actions of the United States in resolving this conflict should not be reflected. The actions of the United States in resolving this conflict should not just reflect the interests of a small minority of right-wing ideological voices that's taking place right now under the Trump administration. As a result of President Trump's short-sighted thinking, our standing in the world has become diminished. This is the current approach. The Palestinian side has entirely withdrawn from talks, and quietly, Israeli officials scoff at the chances of success of the Trump administration's ham-handed approach. The next American president must change course and instead serve as an honest broker and a chief negotiator for our national security interests. We are not truly secure when our longtime friend and dear ally Israel feels threatened to the point of occupying and securing land as a permanent solution instead of peace. We are not secure when the Palestinians have been disenfranchised, undermining effective diplomacy, yet this is what happens when a real estate broker leads an insular